What do you want to talk about?
I think in some moment you start to speak about the 6 parameters, and you are talking about the possibilities of way to work with the mind.
Huh?
I think we're talking about the. In some moment before we start to do questions, you're talking about ways to work with the mind in the Bodhisattva path. And then I think we start to come with the 6 parameters, but then we start to do questions. So I think we.
So yeah, so I think in utilization, yeah, in utilization of the practice, there's different methods of the utilization of practice. That depends a lot on the capability of the mind, then your own capability, then wisdom, knowledge, all of this combined together, yeah, development happens. So I think mainly today, this 2 days course, I think we are covering, what do we say, the practice of the bodhicitta. So I think most roughly the idea, now that you have the idea, then more contemplation on the idea is important, yeah. Just in the method of practice, there's 3 methods: Thöpa, Samba, Gomba. First one is Thöpa. Thöpa is always hearing. First one is hearing. Then Samba is contemplating. So first Thöpa. Now we have Thöpa here. I also have Thöpa. You also have Thöpa. Yeah, we hearing each other. Then from there, then the second part, contemplation. Yeah, Gomba, Samba. Yeah, Samba is in regards to contemplation. Then Gomba is third one. Once you have the contemplation, if the contemplation makes sense, then Gomba is a practice. Gom actually means meditation, but meditation is a method of practice, right? So utilization of the mind in order to practice is called Gom. Meditation, I think meditation is for development. It's a practice. Yeah, whether you want to meditate on breath, yeah, sitting down, concentrating on breath, going in and out, and then concentrating on light, or concentrating on, some they do deity practice, concentrating on the deities, on the hands and the eyes, and what the eyes represent and the hands represent, and what the posture represent. That one that one up to you. But when it comes to contemplation, then Gomba is to learn how to implement what makes sense. That is true nature of meditation, I think. So Thösam Gomsum, utilizing the method of practice is Thösam Gomsum, yeah, hearing, contemplating, and then utilizing, meditating on how to utilize what makes sense to us. So I think this, moving forward, this would be your practice. Yeah, Thöpa Samba, always Thöpa Samba Gomba, Thöpa Samba Gomba, Thöpa Samba Gomba. So, and that is there, that is same, I think, unless it's the solitary realized beings, that one is a whole different thing. But then unless the path of the solitary realized beings, all other paths, yeah, follow the same method of Thösam Gomsum. Yeah, so that is, I think, moving forward, one important aspect. Then, like I said, second important aspect, no one going to come here and say, oh yeah, enlightenment is important, this is what you have to do, you need to realize emptiness, you need to meditate on compassion. This is not there. Everyone, I always say, where's the spark in you? What creates the small sparks in you? That's where you really hold on to. Yeah, one of my friends, now 70, 80 years old maybe, she, at one time, 40, 50 years ago, at one time, she came to Nepal, India. She saw street dogs, very horrible conditions. Some had skin disease, some, that, some days no food, all bones and like that. That's where her spark was. So the next, until now, even now, then she's still feeding dogs. She has a dog shelter, she looks after the dogs, that, this. So that's the spark. Sense, no? So I think practice, definitely, and based on sense. Yeah, senseless practice. If you don't have true what we say sense of aspiration, yeah, true sense of achievement, true sense of what is a validation, then the practice. Yeah, this is why a lot of people they like rabbit jumping here, jumping there, one day doing this, one day doing that. There's all senseless inside. Yeah, you realize the senseless here, then you go here. Then you try this, you realize the senselessness here, then you go. So not like a jumping rabbit. Yeah. So I think holding on to the sparks that ignite within yourself in regards to quality, in regards to practice, in regards to where you want to develop, what developing, in which aspect of development does sense really come. That's, I think, the more important things to consider before truly becoming truly calling yourself a practitioner. Yeah. That is there. Then what else? Then
Yeah, maybe could you talk a little bit about the vows of the Bodhisattva and the difference between the aspirational vows?
So I think yesterday I talked a little bit in regards to Vinaya. Yeah, why Vinaya is established is to keep your attention from diverting all over the place. Yeah. Today someone comes and talks a little bit of sense into you, and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But then tomorrow, when it comes to establishing the establishing the practice, then slowly the fire dies out. So the Bodhisattva vows, I think, mainly in regards to that. Now, all of the higher, what do you say, Mahayana vows are considered as Bodhisattva vows. And this one has many vows, but then concentrating, I think, on certain aspects of the vows, of course, in regards to what we call the principal vows, in regards to no killing, no stealing, no what do we say, misconduct, and no that, no this one is the basics, right? This is, I think, to do with the ethics, moral behavior and ethical means, right? So this is the two: moral behavior and ethical means. In regards to Samaya vows, then Samaya vows are, I think yesterday I mentioned, are there in regards to reminding you about the practice. Yeah, so like I said, when the fire dies out, if there's someone reminding you, then it's easier to keep the fire alive, right? There is that as well. We need reminding from time to time. And this is why I say dependence on reminding from a person is not very dependable. Yeah, if you tell me to remind you, then today I might be available, tomorrow I might be available to remind you, next day, few months I might be available to remind you, but at a certain time, then I get busy with my own things, then reminding from me, reminder from me gets disappeared. So the Samaya vows, I mean the Samaya, the practice of the Samaya in regards to the what we say, Thandamgi, what do we say, Thandamgi do, which is the reminder part, I think. And I don't know all of the English terminology, but then Thandamgi Domba. Within the Domba itself, the Vinaya, there's Thandamji Domba, and all of this Thandamji Domba, these are there in order to remind. So they are, if you take initiations and all of that, then there's a lot of Thandamji Domba in there where they say, oh yeah, every morning you have to take refuge. Why every morning? Why should I take refuge every morning? As a reminder. Yeah. So Vinaya, Samaya, and Vinaya mainly there to support your practice. Yeah, and then if there's illogical sense in the Samaya and Vinaya, that one is questionable. Yeah, some Samayas you have then in that unless it's on the tantric path. Okay, tantric path is completely different. But then unless it's on the tantric path, some Samayas require you to do everything the teacher tells you to do. If it's not in the tantric practice, then other outside practice or sutric practice, these vows are questionable, and this is not inside within the teachings of the Buddha. Is not there. These vows, I think a lot of vows that are coming out nowadays are also created vows, not in the sutric teaching, and later on coming out. Maybe they created in order to help one student, but like I said, one method applicable to one person does not mean that exact same method is applicable to everyone. We all have a different mind, we all have different experiences, we all have different wisdom. Yeah, we all have different concepts, views, perspectives, application method also. So in regards to that, I think a little bit harder to conceive what is exact. So even before taking vows, very, very clearly consider before taking the vows. This is like I always say, it's like marriage. Yeah, you marry the wrong person, then you can't hold on to the marriage vows, right? So delivering the person who's delivering the vows as well as the vow itself is important. So when you go and take initiations, consider, really consider. First step is always understanding. Don't do things without understanding. This is the nature of practice. I mean, other things, okay, fine, no problem. I mean, if you have a livelihood and you do something and it doesn't make sense, but it gives you money and then survival and so on, so these are different. This you don't have to consider. But then when it comes to practice, then you are, what do we say, the part of devotion that you are trying to develop, that is an important aspect of your own development. So in regards to that, you need to know why, where, who, when, how. This you need to know. So I think, yeah, even in the Bodhisattva's path, unless things tend to make sense, like the practice we talked about in regards to the mindset of a Bodhisattva, in regards to building the bubble, yeah, expanding the bubble. How much sense does it make in expanding the bubbles? If it makes sense, then utilization of the methods is there. Yeah, dakshin yamje, yeah, gyune mengade, exchanging oneself with others. And then within, like I think I gave you a rough explanation in regards to the practice in the tantric path, in the sutric path. Yeah, and even in the, what we say, in the Hinayana aspect of practice also, I think the application, maybe not great compassion, but the application of love and awareness is always there. But even in then there, when it comes to application, there are, what do we say, vows that you need to consider. Different teachers expectation is different, so some teachers, you go to initiation, like you go to Hayagriva initiation, some teachers require you to do all of the Hayagriva sadhana every day. Then some teachers say, no, you only do the 6-session Guru Yoga, morning and evening. Then some teachers say, no, you only do the Hayagriva mantra is enough. One mala of the Hayagriva mantra is enough. So the requirement is different. Different people approach it. The requirement is different. But the offering, I think, most important aspect of taking vows is the offering part. The taking of the vow comes through devotion. And like I said, devotion is not equal to obedience. There's a whole different aspect of devotion. And I think this one I don't need to explain. It's very, very clear. So that is, I think, the important consideration. Then in regards to, I think, in regards to higher tantric vows, then I always like to say, but then I think some people also is debatable. I'm not debating with them in regards to because there is that concept as well. We say, oh yeah, but now is the degenerate times, therefore even if you cannot uphold, at least if you can take, then at least you leave some imprint. That is there. The aspect is there. A lot of teachers, they go around giving tantric initiations and tantric that and tantric this, and then when people question, then they say now is Kali Yuga. Yeah, Kali Yuga, degenerate times. If you don't receive now, then later you won't be able to receive. But receiving, this is my perspective, I think receiving is not important. Important is the ignition of the fire within you. If receiving is going to, because I've also seen many people who take so much commitment and then they cannot live up to the commitment, and then that destroys their mindset. Then what's the point? So this you have to strongly consider in regards to that. Then everything, once if it does make sense, now this is if it does make sense. If it doesn't make sense, then utilization of, like I said, this opportunities to clarify opportunities. So this is why, I always, when I went to TNL, Thupten Nubuling in Santa Fe, and then I did one-to-one sessions there. And then people ask, why you're doing one-to-one session? Then I said, this is an opportunity for people to actually get things out. Why? Yeah. If I say, oh, put this here, then you need to ask why. Then I give you an answer, it makes sense. Then you don't need to push yourself to put this thing here. No, then willingness comes. This is true practice. The willingness to practice is the true practice itself. So I say, if you find a teacher where the teacher is like, oh, no questions, I don't take questions, oh no, then it's a little bit questionable whether that is the right method or not, especially in the teachings of the Buddha. You read the 84,000 teachings of the Buddha. Each and every teaching of the Buddha starts with a question. Sharibu asking a question, Mangalbu asking a question, Manjushri asking a question. Even the Heart Sutra, you read the Heart Sutra from the beginning is the Manjushri. So you see the whole, after the description of the how many people, what, which place, after this then the question starts. Manjushri asks this question, then the teaching starts. So the opportunity to, this is, I think there also you can, nowadays a lot of scams, even His Holiness mentions, right? many scams going here, going there, in the name of what is it, in the name of religion, in the name of Jesus, in the name of Buddha. There people utilize all. You need to be aware. So anyway, these are things, I think, general sort of things that you need to consider in regards to practice, your own practice. And development of your practice has to come from true joy within. Not just true joy, but understanding within. The aspect of how, where, why, these are important aspects of your practice. Someone so great comes and says, oh, do this, do that, you do this and do that. If there's no joy in the practice, then achievement also very far behind. So anyway, I think a lot of practitioners, especially in the Bodhisattva's path, especially considering examples such as Kyabje Lama Thupten Zoba Rinpoche, you start to see that their practice, over the years grows to the point where they start to see everyone as a teacher. And this is why Lama Zoba Rinpoche famous quote where he says, even your enemies are your best teacher, or something like that he mentions, right? So this aspect of practice is so amazing because of that. It gives you the opportunity. And this is, I think, the whole concept of bodhicitta, knowing that the people around you, whether it's the people you love or whether it's the people you hate, everyone has their own role in providing some kind of aspect of practice for you. So this, again, like I said, if the mindset is not ready, then better not. But if the mindset is ready, then this utilization is such an amazing perspective to utilize. Yeah, so that is that. Then then the sixth paramita we're talking about, right? Yeah. Then the sixth paramita again, or perfections. Yeah, it's called perfections for a reason. It's one of the, I always say, when it comes to love, then nothing can go wrong. Not relationship love, okay? Don't don't mistake, okay? But I fell in love, then everything went sideways. Not that. We're talking about genuine, sincere, unconditional compassion in love. There, nothing can go wrong. In that case, I recently went to the dog shelter. Then I saw her, and she had wounds, deep wounds on her hand. Then I said, "What happened?" Oh, blood. Nothing. The dog bit me. So the forgiveness like this. Other places, a little bit of scratch, then oh. So even in practice, when, like I say, if you truly embrace the practice itself, then a lot of the things that seems to be, objectively, what we say, harming, can actually be very beneficial in some ways. And this is where also the practice, like I said, the practice of Buddha in his past life, Jimba, Lui Jimba, what is it? Jimba is what? Jimba, first paramita, Jimba. Generosity, the practice of generosity is so amazing because it comes from the ability, So anyway, this is where I think the concept of Jimba comes. Yeah. Then people think, oh, in order to practice generosity, you need to give your house, give your wealth, give your life, give your time, give your. No, this is wrong utilization. Yeah. I think at the basic level, generosity, giving smile to everyone, that in itself has such an amazing quality of generosity. You have I mean, normally people, if I'm at neutral, then I don't realize someone smile at me, I smile like finish. But if you're at your lowest point and someone comes and smiles and gives you a hug, ooh, the potential of awakening that person within, so amazing. A small gesture, but has a huge impact. And that itself can be considered great generosity. There's a story of, Ashoka. Have you heard about Ashoka? King Ashoka. Yeah. King Ashoka is one of the great kings of the of India. I think basically united the whole India, the now called India. He sort of like united the whole now called. One of his past lives, when he was a very, very, very poor boy, had nothing to offer. Then he heard the Buddha was coming. Then he was looking, what can I offer? What can I offer to the Buddha? Nothing to offer. So he took a hand full of sand from the roadside and offered it to Buddha. That generosity, created the seed for him to become this great, great king. And even now, the Indian, even on the Indian banknote, you see the Ashoka pillar there still. It's a great contributor to Indian, to the Indian, what we say, they call it the land of the Bodhisattva in those days. Now I'm not sure whether it's the land of Bodhisattva or not, but in those days, definitely, Pakbeyu, Yaka Pakbeyu, we say, land of the Bodhisattvas. He became the king of the land of the Bodhisattvas. So generosity, like I said, it's not about that, it's about this, right? So that is there. And then Tsuldim. Tsuldim is the means of livelihood. I think this has nothing to do with religion, nothing to do with Buddhism, nothing to do with Dharma. It's just sensible means of living. Yeah, what we call morality. Yeah, moral means and ethical behavior, we say, right? So these two combined together builds Tsuldim. And this is, I think, definitely on the practice, on the path of the practice, definitely, but even in general implementation, you start to apply morality and ethics, then you have nothing to fear. Most of the fear coming out of something immoral, something unethical, do something, then the fear start to arise. Oh, wow, how? especially the fear of uncertainty. Yesterday I was talking about the wheel of life and how they use the wheel of life in order to, this is where the fear comes from. You don't act moral, you don't act ethical, you don't behave, then now questionable where I'm going to go, how I'm going to end up, what is going to happen. Even in the karmic sense, because cause and condition work in that way. If I hit you today, then from tomorrow I'm fearing maybe this guy will hit me back. That is there. Then every time I see you, I hide, I'm running away. It is the same concept. So liberation from fear, one of the main methods to liberation from fear itself, the constant, this is through the practice of the perfection of moral and ethics. I have nothing to fear then. Now, third one comes patience, I think. Patience is a hard one, I think. When it comes to applying, it's very, 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 very hard. But on the wider scope, I think whatever the utilization, the means and the methods, the utilization of the Bodhisattva's path that we have been through, these are all construct values that give more, what do we say, more permanent, what do we say, structure in building patience. And also, yeah, then, Ngondo unit Suldim Lesheme, sorry, I'm going back to ethics. Ngondo unit Suldim Lesheme is mentioned in the text. Ngondo is higher rebirth. So a lot of people, this is the word they use, Ngondo unit Suldim Lesheme. If you want a higher rebirth, then you stay moral and ethical. Yeah, the Suldim, the ethic, the perfection of ethics is the cause to a higher rebirth. So this is why a lot of cultural and traditional, in the traditional and cultural sense, then even if they are butchers in their life, then end of their life, then they are, money, oh money payment, oh money payment, go to the monastery, offer. The fear is there. No. So same concept, I think. In understanding one's own nature, when you are applying the practice of Dakshin Yamje, exchanging oneself with others, in the nature of one's own reality, where you are, where you see the constant I, where you see the benefit that the constant I gives, and where you see the benefit that the constant I can bring into your existence. This all has to do with patience also, no? Can you recall a time when you are not patient with yourself? Yeah? If you can recall a time when you are not patient with yourself, then you can recall very clearly a time where things started to tumble down. Patience, I think main reason for patience is to give the time where our mind can settle so that it can make a more clear, what do we say, clear analysis, assessment, yeah, where it can make a more clear assessment. This is where patience, I think one of the most useful methods of patience happens. When you are impatient, then you work through emotion, through that, through this, through greed, through hatred, through anger, all of these destructive things. And the result, of course, we can see. Patience is willing to be kind enough to yourself, to give yourself the time to relax and contemplate things more clearly. And this is self-patience. Now, patience for others is a whole different story again. I think patience to others is a clear form of genuine, sincere, unconditional love. When someone is patient to you, that gives you value. morally, ethically, even through the perspective of generosity. Within the practice of the 6 paramitas, the 6 paramitas are, it's not like, oh, one practice is separate from the others. No, this is internally utilized together also. Patience can be practiced as generosity. So you can utilize it there as well. It can be practiced as an ethical means and the ethical behavior. You can utilize this there as well. So these are all integratable. Yeah, integratable is the word.
Interconnected.
Yeah, when you're using them, it's integratable. Integrate. You integrate it into each other.
Interchangeable.
Interchangeable. There's no word called integratable. I'm making up so many words. Ah?
It's actually able to be integrated.
Yeah, able to be integrated. Okay. So integrated. Yeah. So integrated. Able to be integrated. Yeah. Then Tsundu. Yeah, Tsundu, what do you say? Effort. Effort, I think we talked enough. There's joyous effort, which is an amazing practice. Then I think in regards to achievement in samsara itself, you want to achieve something, the effort is necessary there. Yeah. Even when you're looking for a job, you need to send 20, 30 different, what do you call that? CV? Yeah, application, 20, 30 applications. Maybe you get one response back, maybe you don't. The effort, yeah, based on the effort, then you get results. So effort is mainly focused on results. We want fast results. Without effort, that is not going to happen. Clearly, this is why joy is utilized. So effort is again, and this the effort in practice, I think, comes very closely to the concept of joyful effort. The joyful effort is one of the best methods of the effort. Generally, when you talk about effort, we are putting something in regards to receiving something. Whether we want to put or we don't want to put, that's a whole different concept. But then joyful effort is honorably putting effort. No, not honorably. What is it? Without the need to think too much. And so that changes the aspect of the practice itself, whether the practice is achievable or not. It depends a lot on the effort you put, and on top of that, not just the effort but the joyful effort you put. Like I said, external things you can put effort and achieve. Spiritual attainment and achievement, I always think joyful effort is one of the only ways. And normally you can put effort, but then if you put effort and there's no joyful effort, then it dies down slowly. This one, I think, not just in our practice, but within our mind and within what are you talking about? What was it? The dealing with things, mental afflictions, and momentary joy, and all of the same thing with effort. So effort need to be considered even in working with these things. You think without effort you will be able to completely let go of what you say, your habit of drinking? No. You want to let go of the habit of drinking, you need to put effort. Effort is working with structure onto the practice. Yeah. So that the continuity of the practice, the consistency of the practice is there. And through the consistency, then the development comes. One day I say, oh, I want to reach enlightenment. I sit here one day meditating like that. This is not going to bring enlightenment. It's a continuous development. So I think that's where effort comes. Then someday stable mind, what they call vipassana.
This is concentration, no? Dhyana.
No, not laughter. Sorry. Something stable concentration. Yeah, something stable concentration. This is achieved not vipassana. What is it? Shamatha. Yeah, this is achieved by practicing shamatha. The 9 stages of the mind concentration, they call it. So achievement of the Yeah, shamatha used to be practiced in many different religion in the past. You know, all the Indian in those days with the kingdoms and the different practice, everyone practiced shamatha. Why? Because shamatha gave mundane abilities. Yeah, there's all these abilities. You know, your ability to see is what 100,000 meters away. Yeah, like you know, like eagle's eye, they say, right? Then other abilities like your hearing ability goes up. So everything sort of like goes up. It's like you're developing 6 senses everywhere. So they used to practice this, but they're kind of useless if you're not utilizing it in the right way. No? So someday, yeah, mental stabilization, utilization of the mental stabilization is to develop your ability to contemplate. They say when you achieve stabilization, mental stabilization in regards to concentration, then this is where the concept of time disappears. There's a story, you know, shepherd. He's a good sheep shepherd. The sheep shepherd, one of his past lifetimes, a great philosopher. So after that, he was reborn as a sheep shepherd. I don't know why, but anyway, he was reborn as a sheep shepherd. Then one day, this sheep shepherd going past the monastery, chasing the sheep up the hill. Then inside the monastery, then he hear the Lama, the teacher inside the monastery say, Tongyi. Tongyi is emptiness, the view of emptiness. So he hear this word, the view of emptiness. So then he was thinking, what is the view of emptiness? So he went up, he reached the hill, then he sent his sheep out to grazing the grass. Grazing, I don't know what you call. Anyway, so he sent the sheep out to glazing the grass. Then he sit there and he started to think, what is this word that I heard, the view of emptiness? So he closed his eye, thinking. Then when he opened his eye, then the wolf had come, eaten the sheep. Some sheep gone here, some sheep gone there. They disappeared. Yeah. I think it was like 1 week or something like that. Had already passed, gone, finished. He was so deep in concentration that now everything is different perspective. So this is the level of concentration that we can achieve. Yeah, I think the concept of Lhagtong is mainly to deal with what we say distraction and to deal with the core ignorance. How aware are we of everything around us? Lama Zopa Rinpoche's level of awareness, when he's walking, looking, if there's an ant, then he's picking up the ant like this. There's a bug, he's picking up. Our level of awareness not there. We walk, right? Whether it's ant, whether it's what, walking like that. And yet we think, oh, we are so pure, we don't create any negative. Yeah, they say when you boil hot water, then before pouring the hot water onto a place, you need to pour cold water first. This is one of the practices of the Bodhisattvas. Why? Because there are many germs and bacteria and that and this. Chase them away before you pour the hot water. This kind of practice they do. The level of awareness is beyond us. Yeah, if any of you do water ball offering, then first you pour water into one ball, then you put little water in every ball like this first before you go. This again one of the Bodhisattva practices. Yeah, they say within this there's many germs and bacteria and other beings. So putting water like this is like tsunami coming, destroying everything. It's written in the text. So you pour a little bit, then and you give them time to escape, and then you offer the water. All kinds of these different practices are quite amazing. This everything to do with awareness and letting go of ignorance. No, these things the Buddha talked many long time before Then after now scientific, they get, what do you call that, micro what, Microsoft, microscope, yeah. Now they bring microscope and then they see, oh yes, there's germ, there's this, there's living beings and that and this. So again, like I said, the practice of something, a stable mental stabilization, has to do with awareness, and these are all in regards to awareness. No? And I think even personally, like we were talking yesterday morning, one of the first things that always practice is in regards to the consideration of the me, of the mind, because everything arises from there. So even in that, then consideration, the awareness to consideration is very important. So anyway, then of course, without wisdom, then all of this application, all of the what is it, 5 applications before that, without wisdom, then we apply them in wrong ways, in wrong methods. Then yeah. So wisdom is, I think, is the core ingredient in order to utilize all of these perfections. The perfection of wisdom is in order to bring what we say, the right method to utilizing all these perfections. And they say, if you are practicing generosity, right, then someone says, oh, please give me money, what is it, if you are someone who drinks, someone who does drugs and things like that, harmful things to oneself, then he says, oh, please give me money, and you say, oh yeah, I'm practicing generosity, give. Then he's utilizing this to destroy himself. Whether this is generous, yes, generosity, but whether this is a wise generous or not, that is questionable. So this is why His Holiness said, no, what is it? Be a bodhisattva, but don't be a stupid bodhisattva. And this is where the utilization of wisdom comes into play. Now, these 6 paramitas, very clearly the practice, the utilization of the practice for the, what do we say, for the bodhisattva path. Every single one of them is a utilization. They use it on their bodhisattva path to achieve more. Now, the 6 paramita, I think, generally, I think to have a more peaceful, happy, comfortable, joyful life, definitely this is at the basis. This is the 6 paramita. You can utilize the 6 paramita to achieve that. But on a higher level, the 6 paramita utilized to achieve enlightenment. And that is in your hands. Where do I want to utilize it? But before utilizing it, you need to develop it, right? So now, in order to develop it, then you need to find sense in developing it. Oh, why should I do it? Why should I practice generosity? I myself don't have enough to eat, don't have enough to do. Why practice generosity? So contemplation of that is important. So anyway, even on the bodhisattva's path, the utilization of the 6 paramitas in that sense is very, 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 very clear. So utilization of the 6 paramita is there. Then utilization of the what do you say, when you talk about the 10 paramitas, I think I talked about it, tapto mala mishi, that one. After this path of seeing, this is the full potential, and it's like the key to unlocking the full potential of the what do we say, of the bodhisattva practice, or bodhicitta. Yeah, so to unlock the full potential of the bodhicitta, then you utilize the tapto mala mishi method, strength, yeah, wish, and then yeshe is the what we say, the mental part of applying it, right? So that is there. I think I already talked about it. Then on top of that, again, I think in regards to practicing, same thing again, sensible, senseless, yeah. Validation is very, 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 very important. So find a valid reason to do things. Don't do things invalid reason. Yeah, find a valid reason, especially in regards to practice. Other things you can, enjoyment you can do for invalid reasons, no problem. right? But that is the goal is different. Yeah? Momentary enjoyment, invalid things, no problem. It's momentary. Yes, the cause is momentary, the condition is momentary, the effect is also momentary. It goes by, finish. But then when you're talking about structural, what do we say, spiritual attainment, achievement, then you can't depend on invalid reason. So therefore validation, very important. If you don't see then validation, then the application also becomes hard, practice also becomes hard, reasoning also becomes hard, contemplation also becomes hard, then application also becomes hard. So validation, core process, right? Okay, I think we have question answer now. Having our question answer, then I think our course finished. I hope everyone enjoyed, maybe get something to think about, maybe not. Whether you get something to think about or don't get something to think about, I think at the end of the day it's about becoming a better person. So yeah, true, right? We want to be a better person, more comfortable life, more happy, more joy in our life. Yeah, that's the basis. That one no one can deny. Everyone has, everyone. Yes. So at the core of that is that. Then of course utilization of other things, yeah, especially in practice. That one, like I said, validation is important. But at the basis, then better life, yeah, happier life, more joy in our life. Then that one can be achieved, like I said, through understanding yourself, using the method and the means to to integrate. So one of the practices that I always tell people is, today you are one person, tomorrow you are one. We are ever changing. Every day we are changing. Maybe we're not noticeably changing, but change is there. And one day one hair is here, tomorrow the hair is not there anymore. Yeah, changing. One day beard, next day shave, changing. Yeah, then skin tone change, clothes change, everything changing. So we are ever changing. Now whether we are changing for the better or for the worse, this is in our hands. Right? This is where we have the power to utilize means and methods to change. So I think one of the at the basic level, one of the most important thing is, when you go, you contemplate, then one of the basic things is, seeing whether there's development in yourself, yeah, morally, ethically, yeah, consciously, awarely, whether there's development. Yeah, last year you are a person, this year you look at your person last year, am I better, am I good, is there a little bit of change here, a little bit of change there, yeah, change for the better, then that's good, you're already achieving results. Oh no, last year I was, then this year now I'm going down, then you start to see where I need to change, where the development needs to be done. So this is at the basic level, definitely. And this is something we all struggle with, so we have to contemplate in regards to that. But then practice, Bodhisattva practice, if you are into the Bodhisattva practice, then that change has to come in regards to expanding the bubble. Yeah, the goal is to include all mother sentient being. There's no, disinclusion.
Left, yeah.
Yeah, there's no disinclusion. Whether it be an ant, Rinpoche, when he prays, the prayer goes on for 2 hours. And the reason it goes on for 2 hours is because Rinpoche puts all the ants and bugs and grasshopper and frog, and they, people who are who have had experience with Rinpoche would know. No disinclusion. Every single one of them, the inclusion. This already shows how much you have been able to expand your mindset. So in Bodhisattva practice, I think the inclusion, the concept of inclusion is the most important part. So widen that bubble. This is what we have been talking about. We have talked about the methods, We have talked about the mindset, different methods applicable in different mindsets, and then in practice also we talked about in paramita the utilization of the 6 paramitas, in madhyamika the utilization of the what we say of the balance between wisdom and method, in tantra the utilization of what we say channels and the concept of the view of emptiness. So these are there. So this, then you check last year, this year, next year, how much my bubble has expanded. This is Bodhisattva practice. So that is that. Then I finish.
Yeah.
We all finish.
I have one quick question. You spoke about the 3 aspects and the 6 paramitas, and you spoke about 10 paths. I got lost in the track in that 10 paths is not the 10 bhumis, right?
No.
What is the 10 path?
10 path?
Yeah.
10 paramitas.
10 paramitas is
yeah.
the expansion of the 6 paramitas?
No, so on top of the 6 paramita, I mentioned Tapta Malamishi method, or strength, prayer, wish or prayer, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, wishful mind, and then we have Ishe, yeah, the mind, the virtue. Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
The 10 bhumis is a whole other thing. This one goes into Thonglam Bhumlam. Next time, maybe one of the topics we can talk about, maybe path and ground. Then we come with the 10 bhumis, then the 10 levels of the tantric bhumis. All different thing again.
3 things
Yes.
necessary for tantra. Just
Emptiness, the view of emptiness, we call it.
what about?
Yes. So this one comes one. I think it comes from analytical part. When you analyze the tantric path, the tantric teaching itself, sangak, yeah, sang is secret. Yeah, secret practice is also known. The tantric part is also known as a secret practice, and this is because the tantric part utilizes, like I said, at very, very subtle levels, it utilizes our understanding of things. Yeah, normally we are very generally very like if I give you an example, it will be like this, right? Normally we think, oh, if someone is in pain, in sickness, in that, in this, oh yeah, if I had the ability, I will help. This is experience I've had. When I say, oh yeah, if my mother falls sick, then yeah, of course I'll help. But then when you go to help, then 10 days go by because you need to go from here, from there, do this, live with this, run here, run there. Maybe one day you need to go back and forth 10 times. A lot of things to do. Then at one point you're like, this is very tiring. Yeah, energy. Then you feel like you cannot do. This happens a lot with, I think, people who work at old age, what do you call, old age care or something like that. First few days you're willing to put in the effort, yeah, because the money is good. So you but when you have to do that every day, then it gets to your head. So this is on the subtle. This is a subtle level that is coming up. So even if I give you a very good example, I think the same example as Juzi Champa and Papa Tome. When Juzi Champa, well, Papa Tome, I think I told you the story yesterday, right? Where he stuck his tongue out to take the maggots out of the dog, the rotten dog. Now you are challenging your very, very, very subtle level of existence. That's disgusting, smelly, the grossness is so strong. How are you going to deal with that? Even people who work with what we call septic things, the difference between the West and the East, I've seen. Here people, they're wearing a t-shirt, they jump into the septic tank, they clean. Yeah? In the West, you have masks, you have gloves, you have the whole suit, and then you are jumping in. Difference. Understanding the gross level is different, no? So anyway, because of the samvasangdu, this is why when the mind is not ready to deal with something like this, then it has to, the complementary works that need to be done before being ready to practice has to be there. And this is why renunciation, bodhicitta, and the view of emptiness have to be very clear. They say in Tibetan. Yeah? In the philosophical aspect, nyoa is experience. Tsoa is effort. So, two methods. Yeah? I mean, there's two kinds of achievement. One achievement is what we say. Tsoa. What did I say? Tsoa is effort. Yeah. So, nyoa, experience. So, effort through experience, experience through effort, and experience without effort. Realization, sitting there. This is effortlessly relaxing. Calm down, relax. This is what? Trying to relax through effort. Huge difference. So they say realization through effort is necessary, at least, if not effortlessly. Best is, of course, realization through effortlessness, but if not effortless, you need realization through effort in the three principal aspects of the path before being able to deal with all of this subtle and grossness of things, before challenging your mind to see things in a different way. This is why compassion is so amazing. When compassion comes up, yeah, if it's your mother who's sick, yeah, mother who took care of you, loved you, cared for you, and then nurtured you, gave everything to you, someone like that becomes sick, bedridden, and then poops on the bed, poops and pees on the bed, then no problem, there's willingness to clean it up. But someone who you don't know on the roadside pooping and peeping on the bed, you ask them to clean. I ask you to clean. Now the mind is still working in regards to whether or not you want to get involved in that, all this shit. So this level of mind, and this is why being ready, having the lakcha, we say, having the armor to go into war in the tantric path, the armor is renunciation, bodhicitta, and the view of emptiness. Yeah, makes sense? So this is why the requirement is there, and this is mentioned in many texts. Huh?
Please, can you tell us about
Give me a minute. I go here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. This story about Asanga licking the maggot from Maitreya, the dog. Is that the entrance to Bodhisattva? You were saying yesterday that that's the core aspect of Bodhisattva. So is that the entrance, or is that some higher bhumi of?
No, that is where the mind completely lets go of the grasping attitude, completely willing to let go of oneself fully in order to help others. No.
So is that
the mindset
kind of like the entrance, like that is becoming a Bodhisattva? Because
that is achieving bodhicitta.
Okay. So how? I was just trying to have some understanding of the difference between the bhumis. What?
The 10 bhumis.
Yeah.
The 10 bhumis are based on different practices, utilization of different practices, 10 bhumis. Now, within the 10 bhumis, like I said, I think in the tantric aspect, I was describing about the gross and the subtle part, right? So, within the gross and the subtle part, within the gross, okay, I don't know how to explain this, but let's put it this way, okay? 3 things: the gross, intermediate, and subtle. Okay, is this good word, intermediate? Yeah, not too gross, not too subtle, somewhere in the middle. So gross, intermediate, and subtle. So now within, let's say, forget about the intermediate and subtle, let's look at the gross. Within the gross, there again 9 levels of grossness. that also has to do with subtle, you know. So gross, intermediate, gross, subtle sort of thing. This is how it's differentiated in the text. So when you are dealing in regards to application, first is of course wisdom, understanding. Renunciation has everything to do with understanding. So first, when you're dealing with renunciation, then the gross part of renunciation, and there's the subtle part of renunciation. Within the gross part of renunciation, there's a lot of things that we are able to renounce, like the things I don't care about. Yeah, so you say, give me your socks, I can give my socks, no problem, I have plenty of socks. You say, give me your phone, then so these are all gross level, but within the gross there's also, like, you know, different partitions. So the first 9 bhumis, yeah, the tantric path, I think in the 8th and the 10th, 9 and the 10th path, this is where the tantric path comes in, dealing with the subtle part. So within the subtle, then gross, subtle, and extreme subtle sort of thing, right? So the 10 bhumis are focusing mainly on that. Then the practice, utilization of the practice, this one can be much more harder, because within the practice of emptiness, then, you know, there's a Tongi Chutu, Tongi Nishu, the what is it, 16 characters of the emptiness, of the view of emptiness, application, character application of the view of emptiness, and then there's the 20 view application of the view of emptiness. So this one can go in, again, different stages, a different practice in regards to wisdom. So that is renunciation path. Then bodhicitta path, it's all about growing and expanding. Yeah? So like I said, I think achieving bodhicittahood, of course, caring, wanting to liberate all and wanting to take on the responsibility to liberate all sentient beings, want to achieve enlightenment, that can be achieved. Let's say, just an example, let's say Thonglam, or path of seeing. But then what are you willing to do in regards to doing that, or on the way to doing that? Yeah, like the practice of Buddha, where he sacrificed, what was it? What is it? Jimba. Jimba is what?
Flesh.
Jimba.
Flesh.
Yeah, flesh.
Arm.
Practice generosity in giving your flesh. So are you willing to do that or not? Now that is again a different level of practice again. Maybe you are the wantingness to reach enlightenment is there, but whether you are willing to cut your flesh up and that is still questionable. So again, in the bodhicitta practice itself, renunciation, now bodhicitta. So even in the bodhicitta practice, there is again gross level and subtle level of practice. Then within the view of emptiness, like I said, Tongi Judo, Tongi Nishu, there's many, yeah. So innate, what we say, innate existence, yeah, when it comes to Tongi, Tongi, I think emptiness itself is empty. Yeah, that is there. Yeah, there's an emptiness is form, form is emptiness, emptiness is none other than form, form is none other than emptiness. These are all 4 of these is different levels of practice of emptiness. Emptiness is form, that is understandable. Okay, yeah, you know, emptiness is form in the sense that, you know, the construct of the form itself is based on the labeling itself. So emptiness is form. Form is emptiness. Now it gets a little bit harder. What do you mean by form is emptiness? Do you mean the form itself is inherent of existence, or do you mean the view on the form itself is inherent of existence, or do you mean the concept that supports the existence of the form is inherent of existence? What do you mean? Then it gets harder. Emptiness is no other than form. Now completely lost. No. What do you mean emptiness is no other than form? Then am I form? Am I, you know, my nature is empty. So does that mean my nature itself is form, or what is trying to talk about? Now it gets deeper. So even understanding the nature of inherent existence itself, there's many levels. So this is where the bhumi practices come in, the 10 bhumis. Yeah, makes sense? Okay. So I think the 10 bhumis application, within the application there is definitely renunciation, bodhicitta, and the view of emptiness is there. Yeah, these are one particular part. Then on top of that, the application part is also different, because on certain aspects of developing understanding or developing that nature of grossness and subtleness and awareness and understanding, this has to do with the method of the Four Noble Truths. In some parts it doesn't have anything to do with the Four Noble Truths and concentrates more on like development of the concept of dependent origination. So now again, this is also a little bit structural, just to give you a sort of like a concept on how, sorry.
It's a bit off topic, but I'd like to know about pilgrimage to Laudo.
Oh yeah.
Your experience and the future trips.
So every year I lead. Well, this year I led, not led, but I participated in three pilgrimages up to Laudo. Laudo Gumba is, I think, where Lama Zopa Rinpoche basically started. Yeah? Lama Zopa Rinpoche's previous life was known as the Laudo Lama. So Laudo is where his cave is. So Lama Zopa Rinpoche, after being discovered, and went to Tibet to study, and then after that came down to India, and then came back to Nepal. Then he went to Laudo, and that's where the concept, the whole idea of FPMT started, yeah, from building Laudo. So I think Laudo is basically where Rinpoche's lineage and the practice still exists. So it's a very, very amazing, powerful place, especially for practitioners, I think. Well, if you're going for, a good luxury, nice, holiday, then maybe not. But for practitioner, definitely is such an amazing place with such amazing qualities. Another thing I like to say is now Rinpoche, Rinpoche as in this form is not with us anymore. But Rinpoche's closest relative, Rinpoche's sister, is still alive up there and still manages Laudo and has been taking care of Laudo for the last, I don't know, 60 years or so now. So again, I personally see Rinpoche in her. She's such an amazing practitioner in so many different ways. The resilience, like I said, we talk about paramita, we talk about all of these. These are living practitioners up there. So again, that is also there. Then on top of that, Rinpoche anniversary in April, I do the trek with the Venerable Sera. Yeah, Venerable Sera leads the trek, and up there in Laudo, then I do a little bit of a like this talk, on some topics and that. So it's sort of like a combination of a trekking experience up to the Himalayas, where you see the mountains, you see different places and all of that. And together with that, we also provide a sort of like a 4-day retreat, 4 or 5-day retreat, and you also discover a lot of places where Rinpoche, especially if you're a student of Rinpoche, then Anisera gives you full of information of Rinpoche whole life story around that area. So this experience, if you want, then we do the trek in January, March, April. It's called the Rinpoche anniversary trek. This year, the second one I did was Venerable Robina Curtin used to do trips up to Laudo, and this last year she couldn't do, and she, I think, requested Venerable Gendun to do it, but then Gendun got altitude sickness and had to come back. So I think they did the trek, but then still Gendun wasn't up there to lead the course or whatever they wanted to up there. So this year they approached me. So last October, I was up in Laudo again doing the trek, Robina's trek, and they call it the Robina trek. So yeah, Venerable Robina's trek, and then after that again, Venerable Calden from Brazil. He brought some people up there, so I stayed up there and did a small course with them as well. So anyway, next year, whether the other will happen or not, I don't know, but definitely this is one of my offerings. I consider one of my offerings to Rinpoche, because when I approached Rinpoche in regards to offering my robes back, then one of the things Rinpoche told me was that you need to lead retreats up in Laudo. So this is sort of like in a not going to say my commitment, but even to Rinpoche, I said, yeah, if I do find people who are interested, then I'm willing to do it. So in that sense, I would like to continue it, and I will try to do as much as I can throughout the years. And this one has been happening for the last 3 years, ever since Rinpoche passed away. So that one is happening in April, and I think that's what you mean, right? So yeah. I don't know the topics. I think the first year we did the 3 principal aspects of the path, and this year I think we did wheel of sharp weapons. That is in regards to karma, in regards to cause and condition concept. So anyway, this year I don't know what the topic is going to be, but yeah. So but the track is on. If I'm still alive, I think even if I'm not alive, the track still will go on. But my participation will be until if I am alive. Yeah. Okay. Any more question? No, we're good. Everyone happy? I think we stop.
Yeah, maybe we did good.
Okay, thank you so much for everyone. I hope you enjoy. Like I said, joy is the core principle of my practice is joy. So I try to influence you. Yeah, better than TikTok. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So anyway, yeah. So like I said, I think now that we have a rough idea, definitely so much more things to learn in regards to Bodhisattva's path. And what I'm sharing with you is just like a small speck of dust. I myself don't even know. So there's so much to learn still. And if you are interested, then Bodhijara Avatara by Shantideva, such an amazing book. But then I think a lot of people are shaken up because I'm doing the course right now, giving the course right now, and then it talks about sins. It talks about, I think there's some in regards to that. There's some what we say a concept in regards to because this teaching was given in the monastery. It was taught to guys only place. So there's in aspect of looking at things and desire and attachment, then there's some things that are not very comfortable in regards to women. But this is not the concept of pushing down or anything like that. It's just that the same thing happened when Buddha was teaching about the Vinaya, nuns Vinaya. Nun, you call it nun? Yeah, nuns Vinaya. So when Buddha was teaching nuns Vinaya, then the same thing happened where he was talking about all the problems that the guys have, in regards to what they are, how they look at that and this. So anyway, a little bit challenging that, but I think it's good. Anyway, it still gives your mind perspective and views to think about. So if you are interested, then Bodhicitta Avatara, my recommendation, one of Shantideva's first teachings, such an amazing book. But then again, if you want to go much deeper than that, then the practice of Paramita, Madhyamika, they all talk about compassion and the way to Bodhisattva way of life. And then even in the concept of path and grounds, the system that has been built up in order to understand very clearly mentioned in path and grounds and the 70 topics. So definitely, if you're more interested, do go and study. My request. But if you are not, then whatever you have received or what we have shared here, if it makes sense, applicable, then definitely start applying in your life. One, it's never too late. Yeah, just like investment, it's never too late to invest. The same thing, investment in not in money, but investment in spirituality is never too late. Yeah, no matter what age, no matter where you are, how you are. So start investing in spirituality application with what makes sense. And then like I said, main goal is to see the changes within ourselves. Yeah, a better me than yesterday. Yeah, then goal is better me than today. So this one step at a time. Then definitely when it comes to the 10 parameters, learn to apply the 10 parameters on you and on your mind before you start throwing the 10 parameters all over the place. That also goes to love and compassion. Yeah? You learn to love your mind like your own child. You truly start to grow. So that is that. Thank you so much. Yeah, Kone kondo pewa jo, donye dawa rinpoche, ma jepa nam je gyoche, gyawa nyamba me baya, kone kondo pewa jo, timge tsure, keme je tsure, namba data, nero samye be tsure, mbaro jen do sho. Thank you. And the world is small, so we keep, what is it, knocking to each other? Crossing each crossing each other's path over and over again.
Thank you very much, Rinpoche. Thank you, people online. Simon, Kat,
Thank you so much.
everyone. Thank you very much, Rinpoche.
Thank you. Let's see. Thank you. I see it's been.
Yes.
Yes, I see it's been. Yes.
So I want to give you also my contact.
Okay.
So if you come,
Yeah, definitely.
please come.
Yeah, we I think we are starting to discuss on the program. Yeah, tour. Yeah, so slowly.
If not doing this tour, next tour.
Yes.
You have all my information.
Thank you
there,
so
and I
much.
can translate and help you organize. And
Fantastic.
assist and
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. You're having a picture? No? Yes? Yes?
Let me finish a cut.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay.